Hello and welcome to the 19th Tech Talk.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Rupus. Hello.
Hello.
This is a live stream, so anyone joining in, feel free to reach out, comment. This is an interesting subject that we are going to cover today, the right to repair. So I called Rupus today because Rupus and I and a lot of other people in 46 Elks are quite passionate about the right to repair. So let's kind of define what the right to repair is. I'm going to read it from the Wikipedia now. So it's called like the electronics right to repair is a proposed legislation that would provide the practical means for equipment owners to repair their devices. Equipment owners. And now that's and not a new legal right. Okay. Advocates observe that while repair is legal under copyright law and patent law, owners are prohibited from making their own repairs or hiring technicians. They trust to help by manufacturer limitations to access to repair materials such as parts, tools, diagnostics, documentation, and firmware. So essentially, this is, I think, the U.S. law. I think that covers the US law. We have the right to repair Europe movement. So I'll share that in the chat so everyone can see it. Okay. Or not. Oh, yes. I'm switching from Mac to Windows. So this is a lot of time an issue. All right. So we have this page that we recommend all of you visiting and checking out. So like the whole point of it is to have why should we actually repair things? What is the incentive? What is our motivation? So I'll have the devil's advocate argument. So if you have something like a headset, I don't know, and you've been using it for 6 years, and you feel that the quality or something is going wrong, or the battery is dying slowly, something's wrong with it, uh, why should you spend your valuable time, and we all value our time the most, on figuring out and basically deconstructing the headset? And why should you spend your time on it? What's the point of it? Why shouldn't you, after 6 years of usage, why shouldn't you just chuck it in the recycling bin and buy a new one and go on with your life? So, Rupus, what would you say? What are your arguments against this devil's advocate argument?
Well, there's a few different good things about repairing your stuff. For one is electronic waste, which is a huge problem. By repairing the device, you contribute a lot less to electronic waste by just changing the part that's actually broke, instead of checking out the old one and having a totally new replacement. There's also like if it works and you like it because you've used it for a long time, it's nice to just be able to keep using it instead of having to find a new one. It takes a bit of time to actually find a good replacement if you're happy with the one you have. I also
Sometimes it's
think
like, sorry, yeah, something
no,
it's like sometimes a part costs for $5 or €5, and it actually makes or breaks the device. So yeah,
yeah, so it's
also
a
an
lot
argument.
can be a lot cheaper as well than buying a new one. And I also think it's kind of fun to break down the device and exchange a part and yeah,
Yeah,
seeing how it works.
it's. I think it's like it empowers the people that they can actually learn something new, and I think that having pushing for that philosophy towards manufacturers is actually the underlying story. So if we push that philosophy towards the manufacturers of any kind of electronics, then essentially what we're saying is, look, we don't want you to have mass production. We don't want you to have your devices made so it's complicated to repair them. We want you to tailor us as customers and have it so that if we have the will, so we can actually use just one type of Phillips screwdriver and disassemble the whole thing. Like a good example is Steam Deck. I think Valve has made a pretty good effort. I talked about this with Booster a couple of tech talks ago. So they, I think, just used one type of screwdriver. You need to use just one type of screwdriver to disassemble the whole thing. And it's quite easy to do. And they kept that in mind, like tailoring to the exact audience, which is kind of more of a tech savvy and kind of how do you call it, in a sense, first adopters or something like that. Is that the correct term? Like early adopters. And early adopters and tech savvy people will have this perspective of being able to fiddle with things. So I was amazed that you can, like, on Steam Deck, you can change up and you can change the M2 SSD, or is it called the SSD if it's M2? So you can change it. You can change your let's call it hard drive by very easily. You can replace it very easily. So yeah, Rupus, you had made some repairs yourself on. Can you share that on a particular headset?
Yep. So I had an old. I've used an headset for about 7-8 years, and both the ear pads and the headrest was starting to fall apart pretty much, or the fake leather was falling apart, which was annoying. You got black dandruff in your hair. But the headset headphone manufacturer Audio-Technica is selling spare parts for the headset. So in the back there, I'm sharing the screen right now. Yep. Yeah, you can see the new one. So I was able to buy that and new ear pads for 690 Swedish krona, which was about half the price of a new headphones of the same model. They shipped it quickly from the UK. So this is the one, and just used. This was very easy to repair. You removed 4 screws on the some cover for the connections. The more difficult part is you had to desolder 4 wires per side to remove the headrest. So yeah, there is some headband. So you have to have some equipment like soldering iron and a tändsug, it is in Swedish, like a solder suction thing that sucks the warm solder off the pads. But when you had done that, I had the actual headphones free from the headband, and was able to solder on the new headband and just connect these or
excellent
fit the covers again, and like brand new. I don't have pictures of the ear pad replacement, but those were pretty much just taking them off and putting the new ones on. So those are
quite easy to do, actually. Yeah, it's quite cool. So the thing is, what made you do that? What was your motivation behind it, like for this particular thing?
Yeah, those headphones worked very well. I had used them for 7-8 years. First as like my portable when out and about with my phone, and then I've used it for conferences when working from home since the pandemic. and they've just worked very well. They have good sound, and yeah. So if I were to buy new ones, I would probably buy the same model. But Audio Technica had replacement parts for these ones,
Mm.
so I just half the price and less electronic waste.
Yeah, it's. I think it's about having that mindset, what we mentioned before, and having it so that we kind of encourage again manufacturers to do that. So I had noticed, and I think that a lot of people have noticed some trends going on. For example, in laptops. So uh, before, couple of years before, you could remove your battery from your laptop quite easily. So it was removable. It wasn't integrated, for example. But now it is integrated. It's not that big of a deal, as you also showed us to the team one time. But I have also some experience with it. It's not that big of a deal, but it's again a step in in a way of complicating things. It was quite trivial to change up the battery till then, but now it became kind of a hassle. So yeah. So like the whole point of it was to actually have it so that it's easy to replace, is easy to access. But the thing is, we are trying to kind of make sense between the design and the products that are quite wasteful. I understand it. So if you put a lot of things into very small packages, let's put it that way, like this watch, so this watch will be probably a bit difficult to disassemble by an amateur like me. Uh, it makes sense on some areas. I've noticed that there's some ways of doing that and actually helping it, so you can actually, the thing with the right to repair, especially in the US, I think, was to kind of, the servicemen, the people that service that are not officially licensed by a certain manufacturer, were not able to do the service, were not able to do the repairs. That was the most frustrating part. You and I had talked now for about, we talked about amateurs like doing the repairs, but I think that the most like prominent, the difficult part was actually the thing where the people that actually do the service, that actually do the repairs, and that's their professional calling, they weren't able to do it because of some restrictions by Apple and I think other companies. So it became a trend, kind of, yeah. So hopefully that will kind of mm, go away, but we'll see. But we do realize that with complexities that new electronics has, it's quite difficult sometimes to repair it. But yeah,
It's
it
also
is.
cheaper for manufacturers to use like glue and clips instead of screws. So
Oh.
that's one part of them switching to difficult to repair stuff. Just side
Mm,
effect of it being cheaper to not making it repairable.
yeah. It is about having that sense of holding on to different products that we buy and not discarding them easily. And I think that is the mindset that we have to adopt for the 21st century, because of all the things that and the resources that are kind of well, not that easy to obtain anymore, and we have to keep that in mind. So, with that, yeah, this is pretty much us covering the right to repair. If anyone has any comments or questions or anything, feel free to let us know. We'll be glad to kind of join the discussion. Yeah. Um, Thanks for watching. Would like to yeah, like to actually let everyone know to have a nice, relaxing weekend. It's always difficult to have these outros. I always get stuck a little bit. So yeah, feel free to use this link to subscribe to our service if you want to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and bye. Have a nice weekend.